Hello, welcome to Fight Night. I'm Rio, and I'm joined by my dear compatriot Jacob.
Here I am, rock you like a hurricane. Wait, have I said that before?
No.
Okay, good, because now I can't say it ever again.
Yep.
Otherwise, this will get boring
And
forever.
I just want to mention something that I personally found funny, that none of you might find funny. But before the video, I was standing in a room separate from the room I'm recording in right now, doing, tongue twisters and, all that to practice my diction and to practice my tone. Do you want to hear what Jacob did to prepare for his video?
Here is what I did to prepare for this video. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. This
That's it.
beautiful.
Like, I'm actually doing things that prepare my voice, and he's just hacking phlegm all over his keyboard.
Hey, now, actually, my throat feels like clearer than it ever has right now. So,
Okay, Jacob.
so yes, this is the second fight night in the fight night weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome all.
And
So
today we will be doing two television vigilantes fighting off two people said to carry out a dark reckoning for their city.
indeed,
Um, Matt Bur-
Gotham's reckoning. Sorry, I had to do that.
yeah. I will be doing Matt Murdock, aka the Daredevil.
And I will be covering Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow.
Okay, given that episode 4 didn't have arguments and you did opening arguments episode 3,
I did.
I will do opening arguments this episode. So Matt Murdock, aka the Daredevil, was exposed at a very young age to a radioactive isotope. Now, while this took his vision from him because it scarred away large portions of his eyes responsible for vision, the radioactive energy mutated his brain and his sensory organs in such a way that his hearing, touch, all of his other senses that aren't his vision were tremendously enhanced. In addition, after intense training at the hands of the martial arts master Stick, he has been able to enhance his senses to even greater levels than what was just granted to him by the radiation. And he was able to realize his natural aptitude for combat, likely inherited from his father, a boxer. Now, I will start by discussing his powers. Matt Murdock's sense of touch is so acute that his finger can feel... He can read by running his hand over a page, as he can feel the temperature differences between black ink and white paper, as well as being able to feel the minute indentations caused by the weight of the ink. In addition, he is able, if he concentrates, because the rest of his skin and nerve endings are similarly enhanced, he can feel changes in the temperature and pressure and air currents around him as to allow him to track the movements of an individual.
Technically, that would probably also help against fighting someone like Storm, even though Storm would kick his ass. Because like he would be able to tell, oh no, there's a storm coming. I should probably go.
Yeah. Even with his skin and nerves are so sensitive that even with his sense of smell and hearing blocked, which is what most people generally associate with Daredevil and his navigation, he's still able to fight on par with some of the, heavy-hitting, hand-on-hand, normal human fighters in the Marvel Combat Universe by feeling the minute changes in temperature and air pressure caused by their body heat and the movement of their limbs.
Yeah.
In addition to his touch, he has superhuman smell. He can smell things really well.
He can smell the sweat on Oliver's brow.
Yeah. And his hearing... Now, arguably his sense that was most enhanced is his hearing. He can hear a person's heartbeat at over a distance of 20 feet with enough accuracy to determine their emotion. Through practice, he's able to control his hearing acuity and mentally block out specific sounds, like his own breathing and heartbeat, in order to hear a sound on the other side of New York, which is how he monitors crime in his city. While he has a few other senses that were enhanced, I'm only going to mention the ones that are useful in this battle. So no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about his superhuman taste.
Ew. Ew. Ah,
Yeah.
God.
Um, so, something the Daredevil writers did that I actually love is that they established, which is true, that we have far more than 5 senses, and that all of Daredevil's senses were enhanced, not just the standard 5 that everyone thinks we have, that we actually have way more. So his sense of balance, which is a thing that people have, was so greatly enhanced that it gives him equilibrium and agility on par with Spider-Man.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily fair to say, because Spider-Man has...
He can't, like, jump as high as Spider-Man or stick to walls or anything, but, like, his sense of balance is as good as Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like, he couldn't jump 20 feet like Spider-Man, because that's a result of Spider-Man's super strength and his leg muscles. But, like, he can do the same flips and that sort of thing that Spider-Man can. He just can't do them as well, because his physiology isn't enhanced.
Okay, anyways, keep moving on.
And, this sense of balance also allows him to react much faster than a normal human. Good, which is why you see in the show that he's able to, like, dodge bullets and shit. He could potentially dodge an arrow if he needed to.
Yeah, by virtue of the fact that arrows are
slower than bullets.
Yeah.
And possibly his most powerful sense is his radar sense. Which is sort of a combination of all his other senses, and his visual memory, that allows him to essentially just create a map of his surroundings perfectly in his head, of, like, everything within, like, 100-foot radius of him. So he essentially has 360 telescopic vision for, like, 100 feet when he focuses on his radar sense and turns it on. Now, onto his combat abilities. He was trained by Stick, who's an expert martial artist in pretty much every form of martial arts, and as such, he was trained in ninjutsu, which allows him to be very sneaky, very agile. He's a master of, various poisons and various weapons, including, swords, guns, archery, etc. However, his weapons of choice are his 2 billy clubs, which, while this was never shown in the show, in the comics, he's able to connect to form, like, a blind man's walking cane, though he can also use this walking cane as a bow staff, if necessary.
Speaking of the billy clubs, isn't the style he uses to fight Eskrima?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
In addition, simply by watching his father, and because Matt Murdock's kind of a smart guy, he was able to assimilate a lot of boxing moves into his fighting style. So his fighting style could be, just when he isn't using his billy clubs, could be described as sort of a mix between, like, ninjutsu and boxing. When he uses pretty much straight Eskrima, though, with tremendous skill combined with his superhumanly fast reflexes and his superhuman balance, is his style of choice.
Indeed.
And he has peak human strength. He can lift and handle a 400-pound barbell as though it were 50 pounds. He's stronger than even most Olympic athletes due to the intense training he was put through under Stick.
Okay.
And I think that's most of the relevant information.
Alright, so my turn. I am arguing for, as we stated in the intro, I'm arguing for the Green Arrow. So, Oliver has many skills, abilities, blah blah blah. He has multiple times, it has been stated that he is in peak human physical condition, which is a Charles Atlas superpower. But it basically means he is the maximum toughness that a human could ever reach, meaning his physical ability is at least on par with Daredevil. And he has been trained by the League of Assassins, which means he's adept in unarmed combat, stealth, melee weapons, pain tolerance, and force of will. He was also trained by Slade Wilson, who is pretty much the biggest badass in the DC universe.
But to be fair, 90% of his badass is due to that formula he takes.
Oliver also has extremely honed senses, though obviously not to the degree of Daredevil.
Yeah, he was not affected by mutagens.
Yeah. He was able to anticipate and trade blows with the Flash, who has, super speed, and he was, actually able. The fact that he was actually able to hit him is amazing. He is very perceptive, all that. Master Archer, Master Marksman,
So,
he's
though clearly not as perceptive as Daredevil, who has 75 yards vision in all directions.
But so Oliver is good with not only his signature bow, but also extremely adept with firearms. He is also a master of eskrima, and also his bow. He can use it effectively as a improvised
Yes.
bow staff.
Like in unorthodox
Yeah.
stuff.
Master stick fighter. He is a master swordsman, although I have no idea how that would come up. Master at fighting with knives and knife throwing and fletchet throwing. Master hand-to-hand combatant and martial artist. He has fought. He has multiple times shown to be able to take on people stronger than he is. He has shown that he can take on multiple people at once, and he took on someone. He took on Slade Wilson when Slade Wilson was affected by the Mirakuru, and to my knowledge, because the effect of the Mirakuru is it makes you stronger, faster, heals you better, and it also increases all of your senses to some degree.
Yeah, though.
Although I am not sure if that degree is equal to
it's
Daredevil's.
it's infinitely less superior because if you look at Arrow, Slade couldn't smell the TNT hidden in Sarah's pocket until she was essentially standing next to him.
Indeed.
Whereas Matt Murdock's been able to smell things whole city blocks away.
Yeah, okay. But I'm saying that he fought someone who has like a miniature version of Matt's power, but that person also had super strength,
Yeah.
super speed. Well, not full on super speed like well, actually yes, he's fought someone with super strength. He's fought someone with super speed and all that, and still managed to come out on top.
Yeah, but I feel like you should mention, it is worth mentioning that a lot of Oliver's strength comes from his strategic mind.
Yeah. He's an expert with computers, though I, again, have no idea how that would come up, and he is a skilled engineer.
Nothing.
He is also a skilled engineer, and you'll obviously be asking, well, how's that going to come up? It's his engineering ability, if I understand the field of engineering correctly, which I think I do, is I feel like an understanding of engineering would allow you to understand things about structural supports in buildings, so he could fire a well-placed explosive arrow and take out a building if he wanted to.
Yes.
Excellent free runner and excellent at stealth. High-level intellect. He is very good at first aid, and he has this this herb that can
the
cure
magical
most
plant
forms.
juice.
Yes, for our purposes, we will call it magical plant juice. But basically, this magical plant juice will allow him to be cured from any drug or poison, and it can pretty much make him not feel pain.
Yes.
Alright, he is a master of the human anatomy, which basically means he knows a spot where he could hit you, and then you would go down and not stand back up again. And he could, theoretically, although I doubt this would happen, torture Daredevil. Indomitable will and high tolerance for pain. Master of subterfuge. Let's see here. Alright, he has a customized bow, which he can, from which he can fire explosive arrows, concussive arrows, sharp arrows, or stabby arrows as I like to call them, and additionally, he has shown the ability to fight with two arrows as though they were knives, except, obviously, only with the stabby and not with the slashy.
And, arrows break and knives don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, knives can break, just a lot harder. He has the arrow suit, which has protected him from bullets and
Oh shit!
blows,
I didn't even mention Daredevil suit.
and blows from super strong combatants.
Yeah. If you've seen the Daredevil show, you know about Daredevil suit. So I don't think I really need to explain it. It's standard Kevlar with
Standard
carbon.
Kevlar step blades, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. He has fletchets, which are essentially mini arrows that he can throw, and he has smoke bombs.
I don't know what smoke bombs would do to Daredevil, but
It could mess with his sense of smell.
yeah, but he still has hearing, which it doesn't mess with.
He has explosive arrows, and explosions are loud.
Good point.
Okay, so anyway, now we go into the main fighting thing. Do you have an opening statement?
I think this comes down very quickly to a question of hand-to-hand combat.
Well, obviously.
Because while if Oliver was fighting a powerless Daredevil, like a Daredevil without his powers and just his hand-to-hand combat skills, I would say that the arrows, like him firing arrows, are of some use because a normal person can't dodge arrows. But what we have to remember is Daredevil's agile enough and has reflexes fast enough to dodge bullets, which can move up to 4 times faster than an arrow fired from a recurve bow, like the one that Oliver uses.
Do you feel as though Daredevil would be the sort of person who would catch the arrow out of the air and say, you missed me?
No.
Okay, because if so, he would fire an explosive arrow.
Yeah. I've never seen Daredevil talk during a fight.
Yeah, okay.
Unless he's just getting the shit kicked out of him and asks the person to stop.
So, one thing is Oliver could fire multiple explosive arrows, and it would be very, very hard for Daredevil to avoid the spread of all of them.
Yes, it would be. However, given the durability of Daredevil's suit and the fact that it, a much thinner suit made from a similar material when worn by the Kingpin was able to effectively allow him to ignore a taser. Mm-hmm. I feel as if, while it might not protect him from all of the damage, it would protect him from enough of the damage.
That he could still get back up?
Yeah, that he could still get back up and keep fighting. In addition, all of Daredevil's body is covered by the suit, except for a small hole near his chin, so he can talk and stuff. So, unless Oliver...
This is wildly off topic, because speaking of the costume, I actually preferred the black costume as opposed to the red one that he gets at the end.
Yeah. Well, because the black one he wears is literally nylon and jeans,
it's just cloth.
I'm going to use the suit to maximize my chances of victory. If Oliver gets a Kevlar suit, so does Daredevil.
Indeed.
So I think this would come down very quickly, getting back to topic, to a conversation of who's a better hand-to-hand combatant. And while I feel like Oliver has more skill, the benefits given by Daredevil's powers, including faster, not necessarily faster recovery time, but sort of, faster reflexes, he gets up faster after he's been hit, all that sort of stuff.
Oliver also has flashbang arrows.
Yes, but what you're forgetting is that Daredevil can block out sounds. Like, he has a strong enough will and strong enough mental control that he can effectively just ignore sounds if they get too loud or if they are in his way of hearing something else.
The thing about that is, like, he could drown out the music at a loud concert or turn it down to a, tolerable level. But this is sudden noise. Did that noise frighten you at all?
No.
Okay, but that was the intent. But it was surprising, wasn't it?
Not really.
Not at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Jacob.
But my point is that this would be an extremely sudden noise, and Daredevil wouldn't have the time to prepare himself for, like, okay, I'm going to block out this sound, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, good point. But I'm saying, like, while it initially would stun him, he would it probably wouldn't affect him as much as you're thinking, is the point I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, it would definitely affect him.
A lot of the media that I have consumed in which there's a character with enhanced hearing abilities, flashbangs just mess them up.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying the flashbang wouldn't mess him up, but I'm saying it probably wouldn't mess him up to the degree that
where it would be pretty much an insta-win.
Yeah. So while I do believe that Oliver's more skilled in hand-to-hand combat, I think the natural advantages garnered by Daredevil's enhanced senses, such as faster reflexes, better agility, superhuman agility, getting up faster after he's been hit, recovering faster, all that, I think would allow him to come come up on top, if just barely, because Oliver's been trained by the League of Assassins and Slade Wilson, whereas Daredevil is trained by an old Chinese dude.
Yeah. See, I disagree with that because of the fact that the Arrow is able to beat Slade. It's like, all of their senses are cool and stuff, but at the end of the day, Deathstroke is a significantly more powerful character than Daredevil is.
Yes, but what you also have to remember is that if Felicity hadn't given Daredevil the Mirakuru cure, Oliver probably would have died. Both times Oliver beat Slade he had some advantage. The first time he beat Slade was because the boat they were in got torpedoed and Slade was pinned beneath all that wreckage, and the second time he beat Slade was because Felicity beforehand had administered the Mirakuru cure.
Still, the fact that he was able to hold his own at all when Slade could have grabbed him and snapped his back like it was a twig.
Did he really? Like, he didn't die, but he certainly didn't win. Like, he did beat Slade twice, but both times Slade was put under significant handicap. So I'm saying if it was just a fight based on powers where neither of them have a handicap, I think Daredevil would just barely be able to pull out on top.
Well, I mean, saying that Oliver didn't really win that fight is like saying that Daredevil didn't really win against Kingpin, because, I mean, he came out of that destroyed physically.
Yes, but what I'm saying is he beat Kingpin even though he was destroyed physically because Kingpin couldn't get back up. Right? Like, Kingpin was, like, dead on the floor while Daredevil was, like, at death's door. So he was able to beat Kingpin, whereas both times Oliver fought Slade and managed to escape, like, with his life, and Slade not escaping with his life and freedom, Slade had been put under significant handicap.
Yes, but the difference is that Slade has the ability to snap bones as though they were twigs.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
So, basically, so let's say, for sake of argument, that Slade has, like, 20 that Oliver has 10 power points, Daredevil has 10 power points, and then Slade has 20, and Kingpin has, like, 15.
Yeah.
So Oliver's advantages put him at like 15 total power points against Slade, but he was still able to overcome him.
No, because the two times he beat Slade and like walked out, the disadvantages Slade had been put under didn't put Oliver at 15. It put Slade at like 5.
I disagree.
The Mirakuru cure might have put him at like 15, but when he got pinned under like 25 tons of rubble,
well, yeah, but that's
a
different situation.
Yes, but I'm saying if that hadn't happened, Slade would have killed Oliver.
Well, yes, but that was when Oliver was not nearly at his peak ability. I'm
not saying it would be like a sweep or anything. I'm saying in maybe 51 out of 100 fights, Daredevil would probably be able to pull out on top. Simply because of the natural advantages given to him by his senses, in addition to his tremendous skill in ninjutsu.
But I feel like Oliver's skill is equal to Daredevil's, and while Daredevil does have a superhuman edge, Arrow, the Green Arrow, has the tools and gadgets and such available to him that would more than level the playing field.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, I feel like the Arrow is I already said that he is at least equally skilled. He very well might be more skilled.
There's no doubt in my mind, at least. Training. You might disagree, but there's no doubt in my mind that Oliver's when it just comes down to hand-to-hand combat and knowledge, Oliver's much more skilled than Daredevil. But because Daredevil has a superhuman edge, I personally believe that the superhuman edge at least matches the additional training that Oliver has.
Yes, but all the tools that Oliver has available to him can further level the playing field. And such tools would basically allow him to lower Daredevil to maybe a little better than an average human, which would not be enough to overcome Oliver's superior training.
Yeah, but he doesn't have while his tools can level the playing field for moments, like the flashbang arrow only really levels the playing field for a few minutes at most.
Yes,
And
during
so,
such time which the fight could be ended. Additionally, he doesn't just have the one flashbang arrow, he's got a goddamn quiver full of arrows.
okay, I suppose.
So, I think we should call it that 51, or like anywhere from 51 to 55 fights out of 100, the arrow would pull it out and win.
I personally think it's just an even 50 split. It honestly depends on how fast Daredevil's able to react to Oliver's flashbang arrows and how fast he's able to recover, which could honestly depend on any number of factors outside the fight.
Alright, I'm down with that.
But I personally believe that this sort of fight would result in a tie.
Alright.
Possibly a slight advantage for the arrow.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
maybe it's a 51-49 split in my mind.
Yeah,
Though this is up for debate.
indeed. I honestly, it's probably closest to 50-50. So, thank you all for joining us on this second part of the weekend of Fight Night, and we will see you next time. I've been Jake.
I've been Rio.
Thank you for joining us. Hello everyone. So this is just a quick post-production addendum, I suppose. But so I know that we have promised a weekend of Fight Night, but due to some production restraints and the fact that the Pokemon World Championships are tomorrow, we'll actually be incapable of uploading a third Fight Night. But to the best of my knowledge, we will be doing 2 next week. So hopefully that will make up for it. Thank you all for your patience, and goodbye.